Hey everybody, and welcome to our next lesson in the trigonometry unit where we get to find some missing sides using sine, cosine, and tangent. Alright, last lesson we learned about our friendly phrase SOHCAHTOA, and that was a way for us to remember our trig functions and their ratios. So just to review, sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse, cosine is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over the adjacent side. Alright? Well, if we're given a right triangle and we've only got two pieces, we can find all the others. Okay? So watch this. I'm asked to find the length of side BC. So we're going to label that with our variable x. Okay? I know the acute angle 68. Okay? From 68, there are two sides involved in this problem. I'm working with the hypotenuse and also the side opposite of 68. Since I'm working with the opposite and the hypotenuse, that tells me I'm going to use sine. So watch how this is set up. This is the sine of 68, right? And the sine of 68 is equal to the opposite side, x, over the hypotenuse, 18. Okay? Now, we could have just as easily used the other angle down here because we know there are 180 degrees in a triangle, and I've got 90 here and 68 here. This one must be 22. So from B, I actually know I'm working with the adjacent side and hypotenuse. So if I'm working with angle B down here, this would be the cosine of 22 is equal to x over 18. Okay? Either setup will give us the same answer. Right? Just like earlier in the year when we were solving for x, we're trying to isolate a variable, I've got x divided by 18. So to get x all by itself, I need to multiply both sides by 18. Okay? So x now equals 18 times the sine of 68. You can go ahead and put this right into your calculator. You're going to punch in 18 times. Then you'll hit the sine button. That should bring up a set of parentheses, and you're going to go ahead and put in 68 and then close those parentheses and hit equals, and you should get, we'll round to the nearest tenth here, 16.7. Right, the unit we're using right now is inches. So 16.7. But what if we use cosine? Well, check it out. To get x all by itself, I'll multiply both sides by 18, and I get that x equals 18 times the cosine of 22. If you go ahead and put that in your calculator, go through the same process. You're going to do 18 times cosine of 68, and that will give you, excuse me, not the cosine of 68, cosine of 22, and that'll give you 16.7 inches. Pretty cool how that works out. Now, when you're going to find these missing sides, you only need to do it once. I showed you that there's two ways to get there. All right, let's look at another example. Okay, I'm given right triangle A, B, and C. C is 90 degrees. We were told it was 90 degrees, so I can go ahead and mark it. Okay, I'm also told that the measure of angle A is 51 degrees. All right, and I'm also given that AC is 9. Okay, now the directions say to solve the triangle. That means I need to find all missing sides and angles. Okay, so when I'm all done, I should be able to have an answer for the measure of angle A, measure of angle B, measure of angle C. I should also know what the length of AB is, the length of BC is, and also what the length of AC is. Okay, I can go through and fill some of these out now. I know that A is 51. I know that C is 90 degrees. I know that AB, excuse me, I don't know AB. I know that CA is 9. Okay? Let's go ahead and choose a side that you'd like to find. How about we do let's look for side BC. Okay? So, from the angle that I know, which sides am I working with? I'm working with the opposite side and the adjacent side. Opposite and adjacent tells me I'm working with tangent. So I'm going to do the tangent of 51 equals the opposite x over the adjacent 9. To solve, I need to multiply both sides by 9. So x will equal 9 times the tangent of 51. Go ahead and put that in your calculator. 9 times the tangent of 51. And we get about 11.1. Great, so BC is 11.1. Now at this point, I could use the Pythagorean theorem, but we're having so much fun learning about trig that I want to go ahead and we'll find side AB using trigonometry. So let's say that side AB is y. From 51, I'm now working with the adjacent and the hypotenuse. The adjacent and the hypotenuse tells me I'm going to use cosine. So this is the cosine of 51 equals the adjacent 9 over the hypotenuse y. Now, we've got to be very careful here. Just like up above, I multiplied by what's in the denominator. I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to multiply both sides by y to get it out of the denominator. So I'm now left with y times the cosine of 51, and that's equal to 9. It's also important to remember that the cosine of 51 is a number, so we can divide both sides by the cosine of 51. So we're going to find that y is equal to 9 divided by the cosine of 51. Okay, so y equals, I can put that directly in my calculator as well, 9 divided by, and we hit the cosine, enter in 51, and hit equals. We should find that y is 14.3, so we'll go ahead and fill that in. Okay, that makes sense. AB is our hypotenuse. It is also the longest side, so we're all set there. The last thing to do is find this missing angle. I know there are 180 degrees. 90 of them are taken up right here, so I can do 90 minus 51, and I get 39 degrees. I have now just solved this triangle by finding all of the angles and all of the sides. All right. Let's look at another example. Just for the sake of time here, we're actually only going to solve for one missing side. So let's go ahead and do the measure of angle E. We'll fill that in. That's 32. Okay. We also know that EF is 11. That's my hypotenuse. Let's go ahead and find FD. Okay. So from 32 degrees, I'm working with the opposite and the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse tells me I'm working with sine. Again, that's coming from so, ka, toa. Okay, opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So this is the sine of 32 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. To solve for x, I multiply both sides by 11. So x is equal to 11 times the sine of 32. So x is now equal to, when I put this in my calculator, 11 sine 32. Round to the nearest tenth, I get 5.8. All right. I've done enough talking. Now it's your turn. Let's go ahead and set up our picture together so we're all on the same page, and I'll let you do a little work. So I told you that S is our right angle. It's 90 degrees. Okay, Q is 42 degrees. And RS is 19. Okay, I would like you guys to find the length of QS. Go ahead and find QS and then check your answer. All right, so here's what you should have. Let's go ahead and set it up. We're working with the opposite and the adjacent side, that's tangent. So we're going to do the tangent of 42. All right, that's equal to 19 over x. We got that x in the denominator, so go ahead and multiply both sides. X times the tangent of 42 is equal to 19. All right, remember tangent of 42 is a number. We can divide both sides by it, so tangent of 42 on both sides. Our final answer, once we punch it in our calculator here, we should have about 21.1. That's it. Hope you got the right answer. If not, go back and find your mistake. That's all for now. Tomorrow we're going to find out how we find missing angles.